To a new episode of Frontier Springs, and thank you for tuning in again. This episode is going to be a little bit different than the other ones, not from the way it is set up, but mainly from the content. We are going to focus on the interiors here. As I have announced a few times already, I wanted to do like an interior special, and this is like the first part of it. As soon as I have a graphics card with RTX, I do have that now, so that's the first part of an interior special. In the last episode, I've announced also that I wanted to create like this residential block in the next episode, which would be this one, as well as completing the garden area with the tracked ride. We're going to do it in the next part then, because I thought that was more entertaining right now to finish off a few older buildings. Which is mainly like the small restaurant option or dining option in the main street, as well as the fish and chips kind of style restaurant located at the Canadian fishing village. So those were the two things I definitely wanted to complete here. But first, I still wanted to do something in the French area, and I've decided to start off with the Queueline for the roller coaster dark ride hybrid kind of thing attraction. And as you already know, this ride is themed to a museum, and if I think about like these old historical museums, I do have like one very specific image in my mind, and that is like one big room with a glass ceiling with loads of pillars and so on, and there's a dinosaur in the middle. That's the image I have in my head. Maybe it's inspired by Night at the Museum, there's a very similar scene in there. And I wanted to have that incorporated into the Queueline, but we are not completing the whole Queueline, let alone the whole complete dark ride. I do think the dark ride is going to be a multi-month project. I'm always going to work on it in the next few episodes as well. It's very complicated to do a dark ride with all the scenes. You want to have it realistic, the timing must be right, and so on and so forth. So we're going to focus on the Queueline right now. And as you can see, we have already like finished the room itself, and we are working on the dinosaur. And if you're now expecting me to rave about dinosaurs and give you loads of information about it, yeah, I have to disappoint you. I do not know anything about dinosaurs. I mean, I know there are like plant eaters, carnivores and stuff like that. I mean, that's like basic knowledge, but I do not know any names. I do think I'm building a T-Rex. I don't even know what I have created there, but I do, of course, like the look of it. I know they're very important for like our history, and I do think they are cool, but I did not have much time in my life to get into the topic more. Maybe that's something to do for the next episodes, because I don't think it's the last dinosaur I have created for this dark ride. Maybe you can tell me a bit more information about it. You can also give me a few other ideas for the museum itself, since we still have a lot of Queueline left to do in the near future. So I'm happily accepting requests and ideas for the Queueline. And of course I'm going to add like loads of glass cabinets and so on and so forth for the exhibitions, but that's something to look forward to in the next episode. As you can see, I was quite struggling with the head of the dinosaur, but I eventually found out how to do it. I don't know if I'm completely happy with it, but I added these little teeth to add a little bit more realism. And that's mainly it. I'm just adding the shot from the intro again, just to show you how the ceiling looks. I've decided to do like a rounded ceiling with glass, and it does add a lot of depth to the room, even though it's very small and the roller coaster is located just 1 meter above the room. So I do think that worked out pretty well. Okay, so now let's continue with the next location, which is the restaurant that is located in the fishing village on the plaza, or next to the plaza that we've created. And as you can see, the counters were located towards the area. And that doesn't really make sense for multiple reasons. First of all, that's where the windows are on the outside facades, and I've wanted to have the same windows on the inside, which is a logic step to do. You don't have to do it in Plan Coaster, but it adds a lot of realism to it. And second of all, you actually want to have the kitchen area at the back of a restaurant, so you can access it from the backstage areas as well. So it just made sense to relocate that. So the idea for this restaurant is to have the fishing part of the fishing village incorporated into it, but I have wanted to keep the menu very theme park oriented. So how can I say it? Theme park food is rarely very high of a quality, let's say it like that. And I wanted to have like a bridge between theme park food and themed food. And I do think like a fish and chips counter would work really well. For now, it's a sushi restaurant, which doesn't make any sense, but I have to come up with like custom billboards and stuff, so it actually makes sense then. But I'm designing the interior like a classic fish restaurant. So we have like wooden panels, classic a nautical decoration inside of it, a few ropes hanging from the ceiling, and all that kind of stuff. I've also decided to design the kitchen as an open kitchen for multiple reasons. First of all, it's very easy to do. And I do personally really like open kitchens, since you can see how everything is preparated as well as how hygienic everything is. After that, I've designed the seating area itself. I've wanted to keep it very comfortable. Like these classic fish and chips restaurants tend to have very uncomfortable wooden chairs, but I didn't want to have that, and I wanted to add like a more warm feeling to the room. I tried it with red benches, but that didn't really work out in my opinion, so I just made them to grey cloth. And I do really like the look of it. Just needed to hide the few things that are left from the bench underneath it. And from that, it's just copy-paste. And the room was basically finished. Of course, there was still the decoration left, which we are going to do in a second. What I didn't really like after I put the roof back on, it really felt like a cave because we only had like 2 or 3 windows. So I've decided to add a few more windows to the back area, which was just a metal sheet wall after all. But I themed it from the inside so you can see out into the woods. But obviously I had to modify the outside walls as well, so you can actually look out of the window. And there is going to be a backstage area in the future, but I wanted to still have the windows so you have enough light in the daytime. But as you can see, we have a lot of other light sources in there for the nighttime openings. And that's already it from this location. Of course, I've did some off-camera work as well, just adding the shot from the beginning again, so you can see the finished product. And we are already at the last location. I didn't really film that much from this location, so the basic idea for this one is to have a small eatery in the Main Street area. And the reason for it being small is because I thought about other theme parks that have like small restaurants and other food options in their Main Street. And I've noticed they are always quite small, and I do think it's mainly because the point in time that you spend in these main streets, it's not really long, and it's mainly when you enter the park and when you leave the park. So that's most of the time where you don't really have time to sit down and relax and eat, and that's why I've decided to keep it small. Most of the time you're just anticipating to ride these big rides and just won't have something to chug in real quick. That's why I've decided to make it a burger restaurant now. So the look of the restaurant is very industrial, and I was heavily inspired by a location that's not too far away from me. That's Big Boost Burger. Maybe my fellow German followers are familiar with it. That's a restaurant themed to cars and like a car garage. And I do really love the feeling inside of it. And the seating area is pretty similar. You do have like car parts, different car parts like hoods hanging from the ceiling. I didn't really want to add that because that would have been like too much of a copycat. But I've decided to do something completely different, and I put a Formula 1 car on the wall, which you are going to see again in the last shot. Which leads me to the topic that we are already nearly at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this kind of different approach of a video. Next time we are again focusing on the French themed area and a bit on our dark ride again. But yeah, leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed it. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.